Hello and welcome to the Norwegian Woods. I am finally out in the woods again to spend the weekend at this really nice place. I'm planning to do a little bit of both fishing and hunting this weekend, so yeah, I hope the weekend will be quite eventful for me. It's never easy to do hunting. You can't always expect to get what you're looking for, but it's a nice thing to bring the rifle and yeah, see what's happening. Today it's the 10th of August, so it's actually the first day of roe deer hunting season here in Norway. From this date, we're allowed to hunt with rifles, not shotguns, and only for the males, the roe deer bucks. So we have to, yeah, shoot animals with horns, and we're not allowed to use dogs. So I'm hoping to do a little bit of buck call this weekend. I have this brought this little whistle, so I'm really looking forward to that. Also, this date, the 10th of August, is actually the date I put up my first video on my YouTube channel. I recorded that overnight trip just a couple of 100 meters from this spot. So it's yeah, it's a little bit of a special date for me in that way as well. And yeah, I am really hoping for the wind to calm down a little bit for the rest of the weekend. The forecast had this extreme wind warning, and they told people not to go out in the mountains and to not leave small stuff outside that can blow away. On my way into this place where I parked my car, I actually had to remove a birch tree that had blown down across the road. So it's yeah, it's a little bit unusual with this much wind in the summertime here in Norway. So the trees with the leaves usually get the strongest winds during the winter when there's no leaves on them. So yeah, I've seen quite a few broken trees today. The forecast also said that there's going to be a little bit of rain during the weekend. We had rain this past night, and that's actually really good because this summer has been really dry here in Norway. We haven't had any real rain since April, so it's yeah, it's a little bit of a disaster for the farming community. As some of you know, I work on a farm, and we are really struggling to get enough food for the animals during the upcoming winter. So I hope this will work out somehow, because yeah, it's really not good if we have to butcher most of our animals. So yeah, we'll see how that works out. And I can really see that the ground, all the this small bushes with blueberries and this tyttebær, this lingon berries, they're really starting to get brown. So they're kind of dying. That's not a good thing. I guess it's part of the natural cycles of the forest, but it's still a little bit challenging. And regarding camping and outdoor activities like I used to do, it's a little bit of a challenge as well, because we're not allowed to use camping stoves when it's dry like it's been this summer. So for the most of this summer season, I have just done some small hikes and day trips, some fishing trips and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm really hoping for some more rain for the rest of the summer, because then I can go out and spend some more time and cook up some nice meals. And yeah, enjoy the outdoors a little bit more easily. I think it's about time for me to put up my tent. I found this quite nice place. It's quite flat in the area in front of me, so I'm hoping to sleep here for 2 nights. And the tent will hopefully keep both me and all my gear dry and safe from the weather. There's a little bit of a challenge sometimes to find nice tent spots in these woods, because it's really not all that much soil. Usually there's a little bit of moss and vegetation, and there's just rocks underneath. But I hope I'll manage to get down some of the tent pegs. I guess tonight I need to put up some of the guy lines to secure the tent a little bit more than I would do if it wasn't all this windy. But yeah, we'll see how this works out. So then my tent and all my gear is sorted out and it's safe for the weekend. So now I'm going to put together my fishing rod. There is this lake next to where I'm camping, and there is some perch and some trout in there. So hopefully I'll catch myself some trout during the weekend. And yeah, see that since it's been a really dry summer, the water levels are a little bit low, but there's still some nice places to access this lake. But I see that the wind is blowing from the other side of the lake towards me, so I don't know how easy it will be to cast out the lures, but I think I'll manage to find some nice places. And the wind is supposed to die down during the night, so it's just tonight that it's like crazy weather like we have today. I have brought this little spinning kit. It's actually quite a quite nice rod, and yeah, I have brought a few different lures. I've done a little bit of research, and I found out that the trout isn't all that different from the perch that I'm used to catch. So I try to just put on a little bit smaller lures, and hopefully the trout will give it a go, and I will get some nice food. There's some really small guides on this road, so it's quite hard actually to find a snap lock that will fit together. So I've actually done a little bit of research, and I'm going to try out this setup I'm using now. I hope it will stay together nicely. Then I think I'm ready to go out and look for some evening meal. I really hope I'll be able to catch at least a few fish on this trip, because I didn't bring all that much food. So yeah, we'll see how it works out. So then I've had a couple of really nice days out in the woods. The first day it was really windy, but late in the evening the winds really calmed down, and it started to rain a little bit. I managed to do a little bit of fishing, and yeah, I had a really good night's sleep. Yesterday I spent the first half of the day about fishing, and I went back and made a really nice meal, and yeah, I enjoyed that one a lot. And after that I spent the second half of the day looking for some roe deer. I sadly didn't run into any of them, but yeah, it was a nice experience. I don't know if there's all that much roe deer this far into this area. I saw a lot of signs of moose, so I guess the little bit larger animals like the moose, they enjoy this environment a little bit more than the roe deers. I know a few kilometers further down towards the buildings and civilization, there's a little bit denser woods, some more spruce forests, and down there's yeah, it's quite a bit more roe deer. But I don't have any nice lakes like this in that area, so yeah, at least I had to try to look for some roe deer. There are some in the area, but not as many as a little bit further down in the woods. And yeah, this last night when I got back from my little hunting adventure, it started to rain. It was really pouring down. So after dark I just spent the time inside my tent, this little Nordic teepee from Tent Teepee, and it really stood up great against the rain. It was not wet inside at all, and the ventilation worked really nice. So my socks, I put my socks up towards the top of the tent, and yeah, they dried out during the night. So the ventilation works really good, and there was no water coming in through the walls or the floor. So yeah, and of course on my first evening when it was really windy, the tent had no problems at all standing up against the winds. So yeah, I think to bring this tent was a really good choice for this trip, especially since I brought my my hunting gear. Because when I was out fishing for hours, I had to leave my my rifle and some of my ammunition in the tent, and I think it's probably some peace of mind kind of thing. But for me to be able to put it inside and zip up everything and hide things inside, I think that's yeah, it's a little bit more. It takes a little bit more for people if they come by to look in and start to look through my stuff, compared to if I just had it lying underneath a tarp. So yeah, it's a little bit of a security thing. And of course, to sleep under a tarp, in a hammock or in a tent, it's yeah, it's quite a different kind of experience. But I enjoy both. As long as I can find a really nice and flat spot to put up my tent. A tent is a great option. You get sealed off from the environment a little bit more than you do in the hammock. especially if you have this open tarp configuration that I usually use. But yeah, underneath a tarp setup like that, I can't fit all my gear inside as easily as I do in a tent to keep it away from the elements, especially when it's really wet and rainy. Then it's nice to have a complete sealed off area where I can keep all my stuff. So yeah, I was really happy to have this this Nordic teepee as my little makeshift hunting cabin for this weekend, and it will be interesting to see how this tent works when it gets a little bit colder. I didn't manage to try it out during this last winter, but yeah, I do not think this tent will have any problems standing up against snowstorms at all. So yeah, it's a great tool to have in the toolbox, to have in my selection that I can pick from when I decide to go out. I guess that at least some of you want to know a little bit about the hunting gear I brought for the trip. And yeah, the main thing is of course the rifle. It's an old Mauser M98 in caliber 30-06. It's a really good quality and affordable all-around hunting rifle. You can hunt everything in Norway with that caliber. And it's got this 3 to 9 by 40 scope, so it's a really good all-around mid-priced scope, I would say. And apart from that, I brought this little caul, this roe deer caul, this little thing you squeeze. It's called a butalo. And it's I think it's the most popular roe deer caul in Norway. It's really easy to use and quite effective. Beside that, I brought some hearing protection, with this electronic system inside that amplifies the sound of the surroundings, and yeah, it protects your hearing. Some hunters don't like to use that kind of stuff because they feel that it limits your ability to hear stuff that's going on around you, especially if you want to pick out the direction where all these tiny little hints and sounds come from. But I've been quite happy with this one that I'm using now. I can also plug in my hunting radio when I go for moose hunting together with other people. So yeah, I think it's a good little device, and it's always good to take care of your hearing. I also brought with me a little bit of a cleaning kit, this boar snake for the rifle, and a small skinning knife. That's yeah, I haven't used it at all yet, this little knife. I brought it after last year's hunting season, this little folding knife to use for skinning. So I'm looking forward to try it out a little bit later on in the season, if I manage to find some roe deer some other place. So my plan for the rest of this day is just chill out in the camp like I'm doing now, maybe have another cup of coffee, walk a little bit around and do some more filming. Then I'll pack up my camp and yeah, leave for home. I think it's been a really nice little trip. I hope this This really dry summer weather has has stopped now, so I can bring some stoves and cook up some nice meals out in the woods. In about 1 month, this general fire ban is ending here in Norway by the 15th of September, and then we're allowed to make regular campfires again. Of course, if it's too dry, I really need to be careful, even though it's allowed. But usually around that time, the moisture content in the ground is high enough, so it's safe. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the rest of this this year. I hope to do a lot more trips, both some day trips and some overnighters, and maybe some weekend trips like this one. I hope you have enjoyed this little video, and until the next time, thanks a lot for watching, and bye bye for now.